What's up, guys? The UFC card just wrapped up and it was a good card overall. And as for my picks, I got 11 out of 14 correct, so very good card on the picks as well. The main event wasn't the most exciting except for like the 4th and 5th rounds where Prates actually started to throw and nearly won the fight in the 5th round, but there were a lot of good finishes, some decent fights throughout. I would say it's like a 7 out of 10 fight night card. The performance bonuses have to go to Randy Brown, Malcolm Wellmaker, Ikram Aliskerov, and maybe Zhang Mingyang. And if there's a fight of the night, it's probably Randy Brown versus Nicolas Dalby. That fight was crazy until the finish. That fight was so good all the way to the finish. But we'll start with that main event. Ian Garry defeats Carlos Prates by unanimous decision, 248-47s, 149-46. Ian Garry outsmarted Prates. His footwork was throwing off Prates' ability to line up his shots. He was constantly moving laterally, which was great. He wasn't on the center line as much. If he stayed on the center line, I think Prates could have landed some of those shots a lot better. But because Garry was moving left and right the whole fight, Prates never was really able to adjust to it that well. Until the 4th round where he started landing his jab and just throw more, and that just seemed to be the missing part of the fight. Prates was not throwing that much. And even in the 5th round where it looked like he could have gotten the finish, it seemed even there he could have thrown more instead of just posting on Garry and trying to get better position. But at the same time, Prates was tired as well. Ian Garry gassed out more than Prates did, which is crazy because Prates smoked cigarettes and stuff, but also him not throwing as much is not going to gas him out. Ian Garry had like triple the volume and did a very good job on neutralizing Prates' game, which seems to be Ian Garry's style. He's very good at just nullifying the opponent's best weapons, and ultimately it can make the fight boring, but it gives him a better chance at winning the fight. You saw this against Michael Page, Shavkat, now against Prates. That seems to be his thing, you know? He has good boxing, great footwork, a very good right high kick, which he was throwing the entire fight. And just after the fight, it feels like Prates could have won if he just threw more, man. Every time he landed a shot, you saw Garry give a big reaction to it. Prates hits so hard, and he has like 4-round cardio. This guy should be throwing more than he is. And there was one moment in the fight, it was either in the 3rd or 4th round, where after they got up from the grappling, and by the way, Prates' takedown defense is very good. He defends a single leg so well, but there was a moment after they stood up from the ground, Garry was against the fence, and he started circling out, and Prates didn't even attempt to cut off the cage. He just let him circle out like that, without throwing any punches, without cutting off the cage, without doing anything. Just stands there. Even after he lost the first 2 rounds. Crazy. And the 4th round ended early. The round ended when there was 5 seconds left. I don't know what was going on with that. Maybe the timers weren't synchronized with the broadcast? Because even earlier in Matt Schnell's fight, he had a guillotine, and Dan Miragliotta stepped in there to stop the fight when there was like 7 seconds left. In a guillotine too, which is crazy. There must have been something with the timers. But it's a good win for Ian Garry. He had higher fight IQ. I think Ian Garry should fight Leon Edwards. That'd probably be a very boring striking match, but it would be technical, and they both complement each other's styles a lot. And Carlos Prates should fight Jeff Neal. That's a very good fight right there. But man, in that fight, Prates has to throw more. If this is the way he fights against the best fighters, he's never going to win. And he always has the opportunity to win, but he just won't win like that. He needs to have higher volume. And maybe he gets better from fighting Ian Garry. It seems like Garry got better after he fought Shavkat, so maybe Prates hits another level for his next fight. And Zhang Mingyang gets another 1st round finish, this time against Anthony Smith, his 1st ranked win, and he might have the best elbows in the light heavyweight division. He throws them at different angles, smashes them over the guard, throws them upward through the center, and he cut up Anthony Smith, which seems to have changed the fight because Anthony Smith was moving forward, pressuring behind his guard. Zhang was throwing punches and elbows, but then started to land leg kicks, which got Smith to open up his guard more, and then the elbows started landing in close. And those seem to have defeated Smith. Whether it was him getting rocked by it, or as soon as he started bleeding, it looked like Smith started to weaken in the fight. It wasn't fighting back as much. He started reaching in for takedowns, his posture wasn't great, and eventually got finished on the ground with those elbows. And Jason Herzog gave him every opportunity to get back in there. And in general, just great refereeing by Jason Herzog, because it looked like Zhang was going to throw a soccer kick. Herzog was telling Zhang not to throw them. Smith was on the ground. Great refereeing by Jason Herzog, and great finish by Zhang Mingyang as well. And Anthony Smith was flicking someone off after the fight. He's really mad at someone in the crowd. I don't know what that was. But you know, Smith retired, and he had a great career. He fought for a title once, and could have been the light heavyweight champion, beating John Jones by disqualification. He said he couldn't do that. You know, he knew he could fight. He continued to fight. He lost the decision, but you know, he fought John Jones, and he went all 5 rounds with him. He has some great finishes throughout his career. Fought both in the middleweight and light heavyweight divisions. I still don't know how he ever made middleweight. He was enormous for that weight class. He main evented so many fight night cards, and his last defining win was against Vitor Petrino, who was a fighter rising in the light heavyweight division. Was supposed to use Anthony Smith as a stepping stone, same with Zhang Mingyang here, but Smith defeated him when he was like a 3-1 underdog. Submission in the first round. So Anthony Smith had a great career, and with his analyst job and any other career, I hope he has the most success, man. As for Zhang Mingyang, he's now going to be ranked. Most likely. And I think he should fight Alonzo Menafield. That would be an explosive fight, man. Could be a first round finish. Then David Onama defeats Giga Chikadze by decision. This is a good fight, man, but it's another fight where the well-rounded fighter wins. The striking was very competitive, and if David Onama did not shoot the takedowns, I mean, he could have been finished at the end of the first round, but he survived the first round off of the takedown, and after that success, he went for more takedowns later in the fight as well. And Giga Chikadze didn't have the best ability to get back up. I mean, there was one point where David Onama went for the back take, and David Onama was way too high. Chikadze could have tried to shake him off, but instead he sat back and gave Onama a better position. His takedown defense was not there in the fight. I don't know if he expected Onama to wrestle as much as he did, because Onama's a striker, but with the evolution of MMA, even strikers are able to get some good takedowns, and he was landing some hooks, raising his knee up above the kicks, throwing his own side kicks to the knee, and Chikadze was landing some good punches, good body kicks, good leg kicks in moments, and the way he rocked him was off of a switch. He switches stances from southpaw to orthodox, fakes his left hand, and confuses Onama's defense, lands the right hook around the guard, and man, it looked like he was about to get the finish, but Onama got the takedown and controlled the rest of the round, and now he is going to be in the rankings, and a great next fight would be against Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett is number 10 in the rankings, and that would be a great fight. As for Giga Chikadze, maybe him versus Dan Ige, that would be a really good fight. Then Magomedov defeats Michel Pereira by a lackluster decision. So Magomedov came out there like he was ready to throw down, go for the knockout in the first round, but it was like Pereira forgot he was in a fight. He wasn't even throwing anything. Second round, he was throwing more. In the third round, he took most of that off as well. He got hit by some big shots in the first and third rounds. It just never went forward, never trying to get the knockout throughout the fight. He was losing the fight and just never, he could have an injury. He might not be the same after the Anthony Hernandez fight where he gassed out and got dominated. You know, maybe he didn't want to gas out the same way and came out there very defensive, low volume, not throwing out with a lot of power shots, and pretty much gave Magomedov the win. I thought Magomedov was going to win regardless, but he fought nothing like he usually does. And that's now 3 wins in a row for Magomedov. Now he is going to be ranked, and I think he should fight Brendan Allen or Marvin Vettori. I think the Allen fight would be more exciting, but Vettori could test the cardio of Magomedov, because his cardio needs to get better if he wants to fight the best. He was still gassing out in the third round. All these guys have much better cardio. Randy Brown knocks out Nicolas Dalby in the second round, the first fighter to ever do it. And this late into Dalby's career, man, it's actually insane that he's never been knocked out before. And it looked like it's one of those other fights where you can't count Dalby out. He gets his nose broken with the right hook, and it was a right hook as well that knocked him out. But then Dalby, later in the first round, dropped Randy Brown with the right straight, goes into the second round, both guys landing shots, but then Randy Brown rocks Dalby with a right hand after he threw the knee. So it was a same side combination. Right knee into right hand, and that's what began the brawl. Both guys landing, but Randy Brown's reach helped him a lot in those exchanges. Not just because he was able to drive through the head with the punch like that, but also he was keeping some good distance in some parts of those exchanges. What a knockout from Randy Brown, man. Most likely getting a performance bonus, right? And Nicolas Dalby's as tough as they come, man. After getting his nose broken, where now he has to breathe out of his mouth, making him more susceptible to getting knocked out, especially if he gets hit on the jaw. He's still landing shots, still going forward, exchanging with Brown. Great fight from both guys. An absolute insane knockout from Randy Brown. Then Ikram Aliskerov knocks out Muniz in the first round. There was a lot of feeling out between the two. Front kicks, some jabs, a lot of feints. But then eventually Aliskerov was able to pressure Muniz to the fence. He was throwing out some feints with a jab that came over the top with the left hook. It didn't seem that powerful of a punch. It didn't look like he was trying to get the knockout with that shot. It looked like he was just trying to land something, but Muniz got dazed from that shot. And eventually TKO with ground and pound. Muniz just covering up, not really intelligently defending himself. And Jason Orzal gave Muniz a lot of time to get out of there, and he just couldn't. So great first round finish for Ikram Aliskerov, man. You would be an insane fight. Ikram Aliskerov versus Paulo Costa. That'd be an insane fight, man. Paulo Costa moving forward, throwing bombs with Aliskerov. It would be a fun one. Both guys have great takedown defense. Absolute barn burner of a fight, man. Matt Schnell and Jimmy Flick had an absolute war, man. As soon as the fight went to the ground, the technique level raised to like nearly elite status. The takedowns of Jimmy Flick, the reversals of Matt Schnell, the submission attempts from both fighters, especially from Schnell. Omoplatas, sweeping with the guillotine as Flick was stepping over one of the legs, getting out of Schnell's body control. Schnell would then use the leg under Flick to kick and flip him over. He has such a close guillotine, but Dan Miragliotta, man, he thought that the round ended when there was like 7 seconds left in a tight guillotine as well. That second or two where Dan Miragliotta went to end the round, Masvidal looked at him and he might have loosened the squeeze, and that could have been enough for Jimmy Flick to survive the round. I mean, it's good that Schnell won the fight, right? He won by a decision, but still, that was a close round. Can you imagine if Jimmy Flick won the decision, the first and second rounds? Which I don't think he should have. I mean, there was a cut from the elbows, there was the guillotine from Schnell, there was the omoplata sweep as well. There was like a lot of good, effective grappling from both fighters. But Schnell had more impactful striking and grappling in that round. But the third round was crazy as well, just amazing grappling exchanges between the two. Respect to both fighters. And I'm glad that Matt Schnell didn't decide to retire because we wouldn't have seen that fight. And he's a fun fighter, especially against these grapplers. Excellent win for him. And good performance from both guys. Then Evan Elder defeats Gage Young by a 30-27 decision. He was more powerful, threw more shots, very good combinations, feints, body shots, just throwing the entire fight. Whereas Gage Young was pressuring, he was the one moving forward, but he wasn't really landing with the same kind of volume or power that Elder was. And when Young was reaching forward with his punches, Elder did a very good job of intercepting with that lead body kick. So with his own upper body, he's leaning away from Young's punch, and at the same time countering with that left kick to the body. He did that multiple times throughout the fight, which also slows down the aggressive striking of Young. This is a very good fight to see how aggression and octagon control over effective striking. Great performance by Evan Elder, man. Shows some excellent striking skill throughout 3 rounds. Then Chris Gutierrez defeats John Castaneda by a decision. Powerful kicks as usual. He was the one pressuring forward. He even dropped Castaneda with the left hand. It looked like Castaneda was landing more strikes overall. Chris Gutierrez definitely had the more impactful shots throughout the fight. The Damon Blackshear wins by a decision against Alan Sageli. Outstruck him, great Muay Thai skills, lead body kicks, good round leg kicks, was even throwing switch kicks to the head and stuff, good jabs, feints, intercepting the opponent's aggression with his lead body kicks, front kicks and round kicks as well. And has some great defense as well. Blocking punches to the body, to the head, slipping and leaning away from shots so effortlessly, shoulder rolling some of those power punches, especially in the third round. Just amazing striking altogether from Damon Blackshear. This guy's so good. I think he's talented enough to eventually be ranked in the division, but he just needs to get that big win. But now he's on a 3-fight win streak and he's looked great in every one of those fights. And then Malcolm Wellmaker, they did it to Cameron Simon yet again, man. They gave him someone who was too powerful, too good, and he loses for the 3rd time in a row. First, it was Christian Rodriguez who couldn't even make the weight. Then it was Peyton Talbot destroying him. Then Malcolm Wellmaker knocks him out in the first round with one of the best lead right hooks I've ever seen. And Simon landed his shot first and did no damage at all with that punch. Cameron Simon just seems too weak for some of these guys. Like, he lands punches on them. Both Peyton Talbot and Malcolm Wellmaker ate his shots like they were nothing. It's like one of those dreams you have where you're in a fight and your punch is just bouncing off the other guy. That's what it seems like with Cameron Simon in his fights. He's landing his shots and they just do nothing to them. They walk through him and land their own. Malcolm Wellmaker took a right hook to the face and landed his own right hook, knocking Simon out cold. What a UFC debut for Malcolm Wellmaker, man. And Cameron Simon's a good fighter, man. I don't know if he needs to go to flyweight or just do more strength and conditioning training. I don't know what it is. He's a well-rounded fighter, but he just can't seem to hurt his opponents when he hits them. And at bantamweight, there's that much of a power difference. Man, could you imagine if he fought Davison Figueiredo or Sean O'Malley? But I don't know, man. I don't know what they do with Cameron Simon next. Because at the same time, his opponents are guys who are new to the UFC too. Like, these guys are now veterans. They haven't been in the UFC for a long time. That was Wellmaker's debut, and he knocked him out in the first round. Then with a Jacqueline Amorim defeating Poliana Viana by a submission in the second round. The fight went exactly as most people thought it was going to go. In the beginning of the first round, Amorim took her down very easily. Poliana Viana never really had great takedown defense. It was enough for Amorim to dominate and then finish the fight. In the first round was attacking with the Kimura to get better positions, got into full mount. Momentarily in half guard, Amorim got into side control, and then Viana giving up her back. I mean, Amorim was multiple steps ahead on the ground. And in the beginning of the second round, not even 10 seconds in, Amorim takes her down again. And again from side control, she gives up her back as it looked like Amorim was trying to get full mount, and the fight was finished from there. Rear naked choke win for Amorim. Dominant performance. Then Timothy Kawamba knocks out Roberto Romero in the second round with a switch flying knee. So he threw it before, but then landed it flush the second time, knowing that Romero was going to duck in after throwing the jab. He shot a few takedowns in the fight. He was pressuring a lot, but Kawamba read the head movement, and the jab fell short. It wasn't like Kawamba made a big effort to get away from the jab itself. Romero didn't have good distance management when he threw the jab. He was using that as a setup for his takedown, and the switch knee landed beautifully for Kawamba. And after the referee stepped in to stop the fight, which was a great stoppage, by the way. Great job from the referee. Romero tried to get right back into the fight. Most likely dazed, didn't know what happened. He was definitely hurt from the knee. An amazing finish by Timmy Kawamba. And then Jocelyn Edwards knocking out Chelsea Chandler in the first round. She had a good trip takedown in the beginning of the round, but then eventually just started throwing and overpowered Chandler, who moved into the corner of the octagon and kind of got stuck. She didn't have great ring generalship, got stuck in the corner, took a right hook to the side, and then left hook on the chin, knocked her out. And that's the Fight Night card. I thought it was a great card overall. And leave in the comments below, what was your guys' favorite fight, favorite finish, and who should these guys fight next? Have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.